out of town. What's up, Wall Street bitch?
What's up, Hans?
Not much.
This is a special episode.
Yeah, this is gonna be our short and sweet episode. We're recording 2 today. The first of the 2 episodes is with a guest called Customer Service Hell. He rates. I had him on once before, I think, when you were out of town.
Yeah.
He rates he shits on Airbnb and the airlines and just people with really horrible customer service.
I want to say that first of all, this is your mic.
Mm-hmm.
But we are in the spot that we recorded our very
McAfee
first episode.
Yep, we've returned.
Right,
we're just on a different floor of the building.
Yep. So we're getting a fully new studio. So that's the reason for the change.
That's why we don't have our Nicolas Cage blanket in the background.
Yeah, we gotta get that.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I like this studio. We got this couch is an upgrade, I think.
Yeah, we got a wine cellar.
We got a fridge. It's a nice spot.
It's very
We'll
nice.
give you a tour one day.
One day.
We have an airplane in the studio. That's an airplane and a horse.
Yep, airplane, horse, and sword.
And sword.
Should we show them the sword?
Yeah, go get a sword, I think. But yeah, we're excited to have you on, Customer Service Hell. And welcome back to another episode of The Baptized Machine, everyone. I believe this will be episode 38. And then, we're going to actually do some live commentary with this lady who's running HD4. There's a sword. It was found in my childhood house in the walls while my parents were doing renovations. All right. Sad Customers is here. So yeah, again, that's at Sad Customers on Twitter. You weren't here the first time we interviewed him, right? Okay. What are you looking for? Okay, cool. All right, let's let him in. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. Can you hear us okay?
Can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm Hans. Good to see you again. Sad Customer Service Hell on Twitter. This is the Wall Street bitch, my co-host. I don't think he was here the last time, but
No, I wasn't. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, I liked the episode. It was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so how have you been since we last spoke?
Pretty good. Still doing my thing, helping people out on Twitter who are getting terrible customer service. There's no shortage of it. So
so can you for people who didn't see the first episode, can you recap like what you do and maybe give us some examples?
Sure. So I basically go on Twitter every day and help people out if they're experiencing bad customer service. Like I said, there's no shortage of that. There's thousands of people on there complaining every day. And it's a pretty common pattern. A lot of these companies are in telecom, airlines, travel services. So you see a lot of the same bad actors over and over again. And I was doing this for a few years and decided to build my own website to highlight some of the worst offenders. It's customerservicehell.com. So I put that together, started making some videos, some commercial parodies on some of the worst companies at this.
So what do you mean by helping people? Do you like respond to their tweets and like help them navigate the corporate structure of, let's say, like United or something?
Yeah, often you'll see people complaining on Twitter or elsewhere that they can't get to an agent or they can't get something resolved.
Okay.
And they'll keep responding to the same tweet. Why isn't anyone helping me? Where is anyone?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just keep doing it. And I step in sometimes and say, you know what? They're notoriously bad for refunds. Just dispute it with your credit card company. It'll be way faster. It'll save you a big headache. Time is money, right? It's our most valuable asset. If you keep wasting it, for no reason, I feel like I need to step in there and do something about it.
Interesting.
But I know which companies are good at this and which aren't for a majority of companies. So if I see someone tweeting at a company like Airbnb, who's known for ghosting people, they'll give you an initial response and say, thank you for contacting us. Please DM us your case or DM us your reservation ID, right? So you do that. And then, that's pretty much it. A lot of the time, they'll just send you nothing else.
Really?
So, people will write back to them dozens of times and say, "I haven't heard from you. What's going on?" And I've seen them do this to thousands of people already. So, I can step in there and say, if you're due for a refund, dispute this
Have,
with your credit card company. If it's within 120 days, you're still really eligible to do that with any of the major credit cards, or debit cards. So little things like that. And I put a lot of these tips on my website on the tips page. They're basic stuff that you may not know if you haven't been in a dispute like this before. Not just disputing charges, but small claims court can be very effective if you're due a large sum of money and the company refuses to pay it. You can sue them. And it's a pretty easy process. It sounds daunting because it's court, but it's actually not that hard, and you don't even need a lawyer. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I remember talking about that last time. We were also talking about a documentary you were working on. Is that
Yes.
still in the works, or?
Still in the works. Customer Service Hell is the working title, and we're planning on exposing some of these companies in the doc. We have not started filming yet, but we're hoping to do that later this year. So
That's awesome. Have you had any companies kind of retaliate against you for the work you're doing on Twitter or online? Like, have you gotten any direct negative reactions from the companies, or just kind of no response? Like, what kind of response are you getting from them?
I almost never get a response from them. A few of them have blocked me. Airbnb and Expedia are two of the bigger ones that have blocked me.
Oh,
But
really? That's insane.
yeah, usually they don't, though. They don't want to make a martyr out of anyone, so they usually just say nothing for the most part. And from a consumer standpoint, everyone experiences this. Everyone's been through this, so most people are excited or happy to see that someone is doing this. So I haven't really gotten any negative blowback from anyone, really. Every now and then, someone will defend the company that I'm tweeting about. Maybe they're an ex-employee, or maybe they have some vested interest in that company, but not too confrontational on there for the most part. Just giving people knowledge, or tweeting at a company that what they're doing is disgraceful, and people are suffering to it.
With it being the election season, I'm curious if there's any kind of politicians on your radar that might advocate for some better like consumer protection laws, or ways for people to fight these companies easier, or for these companies to have laws against them not being able to do, kind of, for lack of better words, these shitty practices to their customers.
Yeah, you would think so. I haven't really seen too much of it on Twitter, if they are posting about that.
Yeah.
We've seen Pete Buttigieg introduce legislation to hold airlines more accountable for refunding customers, which is really badly needed. So, whether you love or hate him, that legislation was good to see. It's a nice precedent now that companies that are really terrible at this are getting reprimanded for it. But I haven't seen too many other politicians talk about this. It's not really something that is a hot issue in the political arena. You usually hear about inflation or abortion. Those are the hot issues. Customer service tends to fall under the radar, swept under a rug, even though it's something that almost everyone experiences and hates. It's something that touches everyone, but it really does not get the magnification that it deserves. And that's why a lot of these companies are just getting away with it for years.
Yeah, what was the catalyst that got? I don't remember if we talked about this last time, but kind of what really got you passionate to spend your time doing this to help others when they have these bad experiences?
So my background is in customer service. I think that's really where it all began. Just working in it and kind of seeing how good it could be versus what it really is, for the most part, at a lot of these companies, the disparity is huge. So I've always been passionate about customer service in general. And then I experienced some bad service from a few companies. American Airlines was one of them, Airbnb. And then I started to wonder how rampant this problem was, and decided to go on Twitter, and I searched for customer service or bad customer service on there, and I didn't realize the volume of complaints about this was massive, more than I ever could have imagined. And then out of the blue, I just started, helping a few people back in, I think this was April 2021, and I really liked helping them, so started doing it a little bit more. And then I saw some of the same companies failing at this over and over again, so that's when I started the website and decided to do a top 5 list and put a couple of tips on there, just from my own experience.
Who's the current top 5 worst offenders?
So Airbnb is still number 1.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of large companies, I don't know if we'll ever see one that does customer service as poorly as they do. It's a very, very low bar.
Wow.
It's almost like their CEO, Brian Chesky, decided to completely ignore it and doesn't really care about it. And when you have an executive who doesn't care about it, then the house of cards just falls. No one else is going to care about it if he doesn't. So,
yeah,
it's been bad for a long time. It's only getting worse. Uber is still on that list. Similar story to Airbnb. The dollar amounts may be smaller because if you're doing a rideshare, it might be a $50 amount versus if you pay a few $1,000s for an Airbnb. But for the rideshare or the food delivery, the customer service is mostly automated. They deny refunds to almost anyone. So even if you get the wrong order or your order's cold, they'll tell you to call the restaurant. The restaurant will tell you to call Uber Eats, and then you don't end up getting a refund. You have to dispute it with your credit card. It's like an endless maze of hell.
Yeah, I wonder if it's interesting to me that the top 2 are companies that connect. They don't actually offer the service besides connecting, the Airbnb, the homeowner, and the buyer. Maybe they feel like the responsibility is really not on them. It's on the restaurant or the homeowner. Maybe that's like their attitude. I could sort of see that like playing into it a little bit at least.
Yeah, and the worst companies at this are all service companies.
Right.
Retail chains.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are some retail chains that are bad at this as well, but the absolute worst companies are all services. And your only reason for existing is to provide you a service, right? So it's kind of ironic that their customer service is so bad when they're just literally a service. There's no other reason for them to exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I had an experience where I flew into Denver airport about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago now, and I landed around midnight, and I was calling Uber and Lyft, and I kept just having the rides dropped, and then the price keeps going up the later in the night it gets, and I'm waiting there till 1:30, and I had a broken foot at the time, so I had no way to drive on my own. I needed a ride, and eventually the Uber driver calls me and he goes, "Hey, buddy, like, listen, we're getting screwed over as drivers from Uber. Like, what are they charging you?" And I'm like, $95. And he's like, "Listen, like, they're only going to pay me $20 no matter what. So
Which
how about,
crazy.
So I was like, okay, how about I give you 60 and we just go around the app?" And that apparently is like a normal thing because all these, like, it's not even really the driver's fault at all because they're getting screwed over just as much as the customers, maybe even more, which is interesting.
But Uber was going to take $70 and pay the driver $20.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah,
you see those complaints on Twitter a lot from the drivers. Either they're getting stiffed out of money or they're due money that Uber hasn't paid them yet, or it's taken 6 months for a simple background check. So it's not just the consumers, it's also the drivers who are getting screwed by this.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
That's interesting.
I did see that there is some legislation passed in like I think Minnesota where the drivers kind of won against the company. So hopefully that trend will continue.
Yeah, I hope to see more of that.
Yeah,
The rest of the list is Expedia Group. They're still on there. Similar to Airbnb, except Expedia has 13 companies. So you have companies like Travelocity, Orbitz, Trivago, Hotels.com. Spend a ton on marketing, but the service is just terrible at all of them.
So these are all service companies, it sounds like.
Yeah, the other two are Comcast and American Airlines. So all services, they've all been bad at this for a long time.
Comcast is notoriously bad.
That's Xfinity is the same company, right?
Yeah, we've had some terrible.
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah.
They're probably the OG at bad customer service.
Yeah, they are.
Early 2000s, they were terrible. Problem is, it's tough to rein in a monopoly. That's the government's job. They haven't done it for Comcast. It's a lot of lobbying there, a lot of money exchanging hands, and they really should not be able to be the only provider in as many areas as they are, and that gives them little incentive to improve their customer service. Why would they? Because they're all about increasing their stock price. They don't care about the little guy. So
that makes sense.
What about Amazon? Does Amazon get a lot of complaints? Because I feel like they put a lot of time and effort into customer service, which I obviously appreciate. But I'm wondering if that's across the board.
I do see some complaints for Amazon, but generally they're pretty good.
Yeah.
You just need to know where to look to bring up the chat agent, and it's 24/7. I've had good experiences with them, so I haven't really had a reason to go after them because I don't see too many people on Twitter who are complaining like they are for the other 5 companies or the other 10 that I follow closely. So I'm sure they're massive. So there's still thousands of things that go wrong, I'm sure, with refunds or package deliveries, but given their size, I think they're doing a much better job than a lot of these other companies at this.
That's good. Well, you're doing good work. If we had 2,000 more people like you, maybe the companies would wake up a little bit. But hopefully this documentary that you put out brings the heat a little bit, and you're doing good work.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And honestly, I'm surprised no one's made a documentary on this yet, because it's a problem that touches millions of people and costs millions of dollars every year.
And the stories are good. They're juicy. Like, people like to listen to bad customer service stories because it gets them angry and they can relate. So I feel like if you do the documentary right, it will get picked up.
Yeah, hopefully. We're trying to make it kind of like Super Size Me.
Love that.
Oh, I like that.
It's not just going to be one company. Like, he went after McDonald's, but we'll try to add a few companies in there and give a high level view of how bad this is.
That's awesome. When can we? I'm sorry we have to do a little bit of a shorter episode today, just because we had plans. We're gonna live stream that Joe Biden speech and see how he does this afternoon. But I am curious before we wrap up, and definitely once you're getting closer to releasing the documentary, it'd be great to have you on, and maybe we could get like a panel of a few other people with some bad experiences. That would be kind of an interesting episode, I think. But when could we expect the documentary? Like, what's your timeline looking for on that? And how can people help support it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We're going to do a Kickstarter.
Nice.
In the next few months, and then I'll advertise that link and try to get people to contribute to the cause. And then we'll do. Then we're hoping to film either later this year, maybe in the fall, or winter the latest. And then you probably see the movie released early next year.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, very excited. We're looking forward to that. Again, you can find Sad Customers on Twitter. Thanks a lot for coming on. Sorry we were a little late and this is so brief, but appreciate you coming on again.
No worries. And thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. You have a good night. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
And that was Sad Customers. That's going to be episode 39 of the Baptized Machine.
Dude, you're so good at
cutting
like,
people off. Yeah.
I'm so bad.
not-
I'd be running till 5, but you like have a nice
Yeah.
speech and
Mhm.
you're like polite about it.
That was good.
I'm
Yeah.
not, I
I mean, I feel bad.
can't do
I
that.
would have honestly liked to have them on longer, but we
Okay.
just on a tight schedule. So this would be a mini episode. It'll probably come. We're recording it early July. We'll probably release this towards the end of July because
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
can put it out in clips.
we're gonna have a little hiatus. We can make this a full episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll just make it a full episode. But anyway, thanks.
Oh,
But,
are
yeah.
we ending the episode right now?
This is gonna be the end of
Oh,
it. So
okay.
thanks again for Sad Customers and episode 39 of the Baptized Machine. Here's an outro song by Pickle Walks.
Should we change the outro song?